Alright, welcome back everyone. We are going to head into the main questions now. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know John a bit more. I definitely enjoyed it. I think I learned a lot more about John. Sweet. So, these main questions, we're going to start off with 1. Why did you start dancing? And what is your background in dance?
Alright. Awesome. Okay, why I started dancing.
Yeah.
So I started dancing just like I think there's same reason as a lot of people, and it was when we all watched MJ. I think MJ kind of influenced a lot of people to jam.
Yeah.
But my influences were also MJ and my old man. So a story that a lot of people don't know, a little background story or history of mine, is my old man was actually a breakdancer in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so back in Samoa, and when a movie called Beat Street, for those who are young and don't know what that movie is, I recommend you go and watch it, because it is the history of hip-hop, one of the biggest historical movies of hip-hop English. And so when that movie in the 80s, when it hit Samoa, dude, it became a phenomenon. Like, everyone in the islands, dude, they were like, this is it. Like, I want to do this, you know what I mean? Like, they saw guys doing windmills on the ground. They saw Mr. Wave doing all his waves and vibrating stuff. And so they were like, oh, dude, this is it. And so back inside, they used to throw little comps, little village comps. My old man used to have a crew, and they used to go to these comps, and then there was one time they went to a breakdance competition in another village, and they walked there, and these villages are not close. So they walked there, and they competed, and they won. And it's crack up, because when I think about competitions nowadays, when you win, it's obviously a trophy and the obvious money, like, you know what I mean? But dude, when I think of humble times, I think back to like the islands and their prizes. So my dad and his crew won, and their prize was a whole cooked pig.
Oh.
Yeah,
Dude, that's actually bad.
That's actually very
bad.
bad. I'm like,
bad.
you know, it's crack up, because I think about it and I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, food is actually not a bad prize, like, you know what I mean? And so, like, obviously in the islands back in those times, like, money was money, but it wasn't like, not everyone had a lot of it. So they would obviously make prizes out of other stuff, and so their prize was a whole cooked pig. And so what they did is that my old man told me the story, and when they won, his crew and his little brother, or my uncle, but his little brother came for a walk, they just wanted to join, they won the pig, and then they walked home and ate the pig. Like, they walked home, no, they ate the pig while walking home. So they were just walking this like 20, 30, maybe even 50 to an hour walk back to their village, and they're just eating the pig, they're laughing, they're just talking. And something as simple as that, it made me realize how grateful I am, or it made me become more grateful for our competitions now and the stuff that we win, because we win money. Like, people put down those $100 prizes, $500 prizes, and stuff like that. So it made me super grateful, and stories like that and watching MJ is kind of what got me into dance also, and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my history. My history in dance is I was a garage dancer. And for those who don't know, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You're just dancing in your garage, you play music, you're not competing in anything. My and also self-taught. So I used to go to the library a lot, watch YouTube. I watched B-Boys, I watched IBE, Red Bull BC at that time. Like, I was watching all this stuff and I was thinking, those are dope. And so me and my friends, because there was no teacher around, and we were just a bunch of kids from the hood that couldn't go to any classes, we just taught ourselves. We taught ourselves how to six-step, how to free-step, how to baby freeze properly, how to windmill too at one point, backspin, all of that stuff. And we just did it at our local library. We did it at our rec center, and I guess from there it just blew up. And then I joined my first ever battle in 2009.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah. There was a comp called Southside Gig 09, and you know what's the craziest thing?
What?
Is actually wait, I'll tell the craziest thing after. So I joined this comp in Southside Gig 09. I was only 12.
Yep.
And me and my cousin were b-boys, and our third member, because it was 3v3 b-boying, our third member couldn't make it, and we were like, what the heck? His name's Ollie. Shout out to Ollie. He's a cool dude. I love that dude though. But that day I was angry at you. But so our third member couldn't make it. We went to his house early in the morning to go grab him, and he wasn't answering, and no one was home. And it was funny because me and my cousin were like, dude, we all planned this like weeks before, that we were gonna do this comp, that we were gonna go and compete together, and he's like not there. And so me and my cousin, we decided, nah, stuff it, let's still go. So me and my cousin, we go, and we get there and we register, but we don't have a third member, and we're like, oh damn it, we need a third member. And then I see a friend of mine from Clendon, and he's there, and I'm just talking to him, and then I told him our situation. Not thinking much. I just said, oh yeah, we need a third member, but we don't know who to ask, or we don't got anyone. And he's like, oh yeah, all good. And so he disappeared.
Yeah. And
then he comes back and he goes, yo, Gale, dude, I found you a third guy. And he brings cows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he?
And so Cows, for those who don't know, Cows is another OG, OG hopscotch, OG project. Been a friend of Josh and Seda and Mele for a long time before us even joined or even knew them. So they kind of like, he's an OG, and he's also an OG b-boy too. And so my mate brings Cows, and Cows is like, oh, do you guys need a third? And we're like, yeah, we do. And we just told him, oh, but we're not that good. We're just starting out. But Cal's being like the funny dude he is, he's like, nah, it's all good. It's cool. Like, it's chill. And so we compete alongside Cal's in this battle, and we get smoked.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my cousin got smoked. He held himself. He was fine. But we get smoked by Locomotion. And it was crack up. And so the crazy thing about it was that the video on YouTube of that specific battle, the guy who's recording it is Josh.
Oh.
Yeah. So and then it's funny how everything like kind of links over time. So Josh was there and watched my first ever battle, my first ever competition battle, and recorded it and posted it on YouTube. Cows was my third. And now look at it now, like
full circle, bro.
A full circle. Like, who knew that now I'll be like part of a project, and I'm like, Josh is my leader and stuff, when back then I was just some kid that he was recording. And shout out to Josh, because a lot of things we do is because of him. But also mad shout out, because in the battle he was hyping me. Like, you can hear him going, yo, and because we went under a group called my b-boy crew back then was Pacific Rockers. And so I think when he heard Pacific, he was just like, yo, that's dope. But crazy. And another thing that people don't notice is that since 2009, I've been battling and freestyling in the freestyle and street dance and battle community in New Zealand for 10 years. So last year marks my 10 years of being in the battle community and stuff. So that's dope. Yeah. And shout out to Josh, your basket.
That's me, because it actually leads on to my second question, which was, bro, you've battled 10 years in the NZ. So you've battled people from Ken to Drill to Prestige, Av, Nene, Coconut. The list like goes on for ages. So who are the people you hate/love battling against, and what has been your hardest battle to date?
Okay. There are a few, but I'll name only like I'll cut it down to like small. One hard battle, it wasn't my hardest, but it was a very hard battle, and shout out to this dude. My battle, Auckland BADL qualifiers, finals with Drill. That battle was hard. Dude, Drill as a crumper, as a dancer, and as a person, he's cool, but as a dancer and a crumper, dude, he's killer, G.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's so killer, like mad shout out and mad love to Drill, bro. He is like, dude, that dude is dangerous on the floor. And what's more dangerous is that he could come back at any time, and I feel like he could still be dangerous. I hate that, but I love it, like, because it's a push. I take it as like, dude, this guy's dope, like, he's crazy. That's one. Another one would be Ken. Mad shout out and mad love to Ken as well.
Bro, I feel like you guys have a battle at every event, bro.
Yeah, that dude's crazy, G. I feel like I feel like me and him, we push each other from time to like, for me, like me battling him at Battle Zone a few years back, and then him coming back and then taking the belt back, because he won the belt the first time, and then I took the belt back, and then now he is like come full circle, because now last year he took the belt back again, and so it's just crazy. And it's funny because the belt's only been going between me and him. If you go back to the first Battle Zone, shout out to Hadley for the event, dope event. But if you go back to the first Battle Zone, he took the belt the first time, and in the second Battle Zone, I took it, and then I defended it again against Matthew Pulianga, shout out to him. And then last year he took the belt back, so it's like the belt's literally just been bouncing between two people, which is crack up. And so me and him are always pushing each other. So he is another love-hate relationship with that dude. Super dope, super crazy, but he's a cool dude as well. But I'd say top and one is, and always like in a hard battle, I think one of my hardest, if not the hardest, but it would have to be Josh G.
Yep.
Dude, I cannot deal with that guy, bro, because Drill is a dope battler, kill off rounds. Ken, same thing, super mean battle mentality, kill off rounds. But Josh has this, he's a mental battler, and that's something that no one does. Like no one does that mental battling anymore, you know what I mean? Or they probably do. I haven't seen some other people do it, but I've seen Ken do it a few times when he talks to you while you're dancing. But Josh, he's been a mental battler for so long. Like now, for those who don't know, what I mean by mental battling is that he gets into your mind, even sometimes even before the round starts. He'll find a way, or he'll find a weakness of yours. He'll talk during your rounds. He'll talk during his rounds. And I remember battling this one time, dude, he got into my head so bad, eh? He dictated what I was gonna do. And I feel like, and from that moment, I was like, don't just strengthen your body in battling and your moves in battling, strengthen your mind, your battle mentality. Because it was him that taught me that whole, like, to have a good, strong battle mentality. So we were battling, I can't remember what it was, but I remember we were battling for some all-style comp. And during the battle, he was talking to me, and he was speaking to me and just saying stuff like, dude, your moves don't match the music. Or like, bruh, that move is whack. Or he'll like say, yo, you just did that, like, this is the third time you've done that same move. Bro, and I can hear it, dude, and it like, dude, it's just like, it's a killer in your head, because it affects your whole dance. And so like, and you could see it in my face, like, at that time, I like was like giving up slowly. Because dude, this guy was like, he's a dope dancer. Creative as hell, but dude, he just knew how to get into people's head. I saw, even watching him, I remember he did it to a few people. He did it to Shelly. He did it to Shelly, and he did it to Seru, and it was the same exact reason. They were crumping to a funk track, and he said the same exact thing to both of them. This is to Shelly, he was like, what are you crumping for? This is a popping track. Do you know what Shelly did? What? He switched the popping from crump, bro. And I was like, no, don't listen to him. Seru, the same thing. It was a funk track, and Seru was like, I think he was crumping as well. And then Josh did the same thing. He was like, why are you dancing like that? Why are you crumping? It's a funk track. Seru changed this dance. But this is earlier days of the boys. So nowadays they're killers. Like Seru's killing it both in dance and music, and then Shelly's killing it in dance as well. But back then, dude, and then it trained me, and then I used that same battle mentality in my battle. And in 2016 HHI, when I won the All-Style TV2 with Maki, there was a battle against Simba. And I love Simba, he's my boy, but we were battling that in that one round, and me and Maki were saying, go faster. And Simba did. He actually was going faster, and he's like, I can't go any faster. And we were like, why are you listening to us? Like, don't listen to us. But
do you reckon that's a bit of that b-boy ego though, when like
dude,
someone tells you to...
that's where it's from. So that Josh's mentality, dude, it's all b-boy ego. It's all like OG b-boy mentality. That's where it's from. And bro, shout out to the OGs, because that mentality is so strong. Like, a lot of the dancers could fall to that. Like someone could be super dope, bro, and an OG or someone with that same mentality could just kill you off just by saying, bro, that's whack. Because even Jay said that he's had that. Jay Fresh, our boy, I remember having a convo with him, and he said that worked on him. And he was battling a OG B-boy, and he was like, yo, that move's whack. Jay, you just executed that wrong. Or the OG was just like yelling at him. And Jay said that the more he yelled at him, the more he felt like he didn't believe in his B-boying.
Yeah.
And he said that, and he's way better now. Like, obviously, there's the earlier days, but he said that experience, like, it made him realize, oh, bro, I need to train my mind as well to not listen and stuff. So, like, that B-boy mentality, that's where Josh gets it from. And it works. Well, it did work. I think now it probably wouldn't, but dude, that was a hefty battle and stuff. And I'd say that those three are like the ones that I love hate to battle.
Bro, that's dope.
And everyone else, like, there's so much other people that I'd love to talk about.
Yeah.
For everyone else, but I'm just saying those three for now. But there's so much other people. But yeah.
Honestly, I think I was cracking up a bit before because I remember this one year in Battlezone, because when you're talking about the bout bouncing between you and Ken,
Yeah.
I remember one year for your entrance, you walked in with a horse head.
Oh yeah, dude. Oi, gee, you just crack up. I found that horse. Literally the sound guy of Battlezone. I saw him wearing it for fun, and then I asked him, dude, are you using that later? And he goes, nah. And he was like, do you want to use it? And I was like, oh, yo, cool. Dude, and I used it. It was the funniest thing ever, dude, because I like clowning around.
Yeah.
For those who know me, I love clowning, but it was just like funny, G. I was cracking up, and I couldn't see crap through that. I was so afraid to go to the staircase because I couldn't see where the stairs were.
Yep.
That's why in the video, my entrance video, I just jumped down onto the ground. But like, that horse head was crack up, man.
Yeah, I ask you as well. That one year when you guys battled Prestige, well, why are you guys doing the hand thing, the raw?
Oh, it was the motif.
Oh.
So it was just a motif, like it was just something funny.
Oh yeah, man.
And we just made it common, and then so the raw, that little claw thingy wasn't for us or for Prestige.
Yep.
It was for the crowd to connect with it. So then the crowd would know, like this is Project, or this is what Project did that year. Like that's how they remember.
Oh, that's so fuzzy, G.
So it wasn't really for us.
Yeah.
And
That's cool because the crowd was actually joining.
Yeah, the crowd joined in. You could see it. They were all like, when we did it, they'd be like laughing, and then they'll do it too. That was the whole point of it. It wasn't for us or for them. It was for the crowd, G. Because the crowd could find somewhere to connect. Like, they can't connect without dancing because we dance all differently. But if we all do the same motif, the same little movement, they're all gonna like, ha 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 ha, and do it too. And I thought about that when I suggested it. So when I was like, dude, we should end this like that. And then it was Millie that was like, that should be your guys' motif. Like, we should always do that at the end of some of your rounds. I was like, yo, hard. And so it stuck. And it was crack up now because everyone did it around that time.
Bro, that's so... I always wondered what it was, man. It's so cool to find this out, bro. That is Prestige versus Project for Battlezone. You can find that on YouTube. Yeah. It's actually a pretty good battle.
We lost.
Yeah, hard because Project sucks.
Yeah, because Project's trash.
Yeah. Alright, question 4. What are your top 3 tips for battling? I asked this to Mikey as well, and people actually want to know what's like, because battling is becoming a bit more popular, and people
everyone's like kind of moving over to it.
Yeah, people really want to try it out and see what's up. So
I've been seeing a lot of people from the Corey scene kind of move over, or they're starting to like at least show face, and it's cool. I like it. And for those who want to get into it, my 3 battle tips. Ooh, okay. Let me think this through. Okay, number 1, I'd say one very important is that please know your foundation for whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
If you want to if you're gonna battle using the style of crump, please know the foundation. If you're gonna use the style of popping, locking, or whacking, or whatever, please know your foundation. And I promise you, it may feel boring to those who are probably like, drilling these moves and learning these foundations is a bit boring. I just want to get straight into it. I promise you, G, for anyone who's listening, like, it will help you so much. So that's one.
Gee, what about for the dancers that don't really like draw from that?
For those
Like,
who don't draw from foundation,
like, people that don't like,
for those who don't draw from foundation, you don't have to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can. It's good to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with knowing something, and you don't have to always use it. So just because you don't know your foundations doesn't make you any less of a dancer to anyone else. It just means you don't know it.
Dude, that's so important, bro.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to know it at least.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to know 100% down to the last speck of information. I'm just saying to at least know a basic. And when I say basic, I mean something as, okay, in house, this is a heel toe.
Yeah.
And this move here, and the groove for house is a jack. Done. Dude, that's knowing your foundations because you know something from it.
Yeah.
And that small, like, piece of foundation can actually help in your dance, even if you don't even use it. So I always advise people, like, know a bit of your foundations. If you don't use it, that's all good. But you knowing it will help your dance. And if not helping your dance, it will help your knowledge of dance. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't really use like any of the old school styles, but I always still tell them, like, it's nothing. It won't hurt to learn it. Like, it won't hurt your dancing if you know a little bit of foundation of locking. You might be an urban choreo person and do a lot of urban choreo. That's all good. But if you know like a little bit, it might help it a bit, but it won't decrease your urban choreo.
For this goes off. This is a bit of a tangent, but you said something that I thought was really, that I connected with a lot, which was, you don't need to know your foundations. I mean, you're not any less of a dancer if you don't know your foundations.
Yeah.
So for you, like, what do you consider a dancer then?
I consider a dance. I feel like
'Cause I know some people, they get really caught up on foundations, and then like,
oh, dude, like, I 100% see with people that get caught up in other dancers not knowing their foundations. Dude, I 100% agree. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I always push to the kids, to anyone I teach. I always push, like, oh, dude, you should learn your foundations. Because foundations and history is the base of dance.
Yeah.
Now, when I say that not knowing that doesn't make you any less of a dancer, it doesn't. I feel like what makes a dancer to me is everyone is a dancer. And when I say everyone is a dancer, I mean everyone is a dancer. Like, from the people who do polyfest only, to the people who do only cultural dances, to people who just go to the party in the club and they just dance.
Yeah.
Dance is international, dance is global. We all dance. So just because someone doesn't know that, like, people in the club don't know their foundations in dance, but they'll still dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stop them. So when I say that, it just means, like, learn it. Like, there's nothing wrong with learning it. It doesn't hurt if you learn it. But it doesn't make you any less than anyone else. Like, just because someone in the choreo scene doesn't know their foundations and I do, it doesn't mean that they're any less of a dancer than I am.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're below me.
Yeah.
All it means is that I know foundations and they don't.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh.
That's practically it. But I'm still a dancer.
Yeah.
They're still a dancer. If I know foundations, it's not gonna make me any higher. If they know any foundations or know anything of dance world, of dance information that they know, it's not gonna make them any higher than me. Dude, we're still the same dance. Like, we're still human and we're still dancers. That's the main thing. All I say when I agree with those people who kind of push foundations is I agree because it's important. It's where it comes from. And I understand, like, a lot of dancers want to just, like, get straight into dancing. Dude, that's fine. Like, go hard. Like, if it makes you happy, dance makes you happy, go for it. All I'm saying is that it doesn't hurt to just learn a little bit of foundation. It doesn't hurt to just take one class. If you can take several classes of choreo, it doesn't hurt to take one foundation class. And vice versa. If you can take all these foundation classes, it doesn't hurt to move to the other side and take a choreo class.
Yeah.
Just to see if you can implement it in there. Everything is vice versa. Like, me, I'm hard out foundation and stuff, but it doesn't mean I won't take a curry class. I haven't taken a curry class in a while, only because I've been busy with my own things and pushing and trying to grow like the scene and stuff and pushing events. But dude, back then, like only like a few years back, dude, I was like handy going to prestige classes. I remember going into an ID class. I remember taking like off like classes, meaning like classes that are not under companies, just like dance classes. I've done those. I've also done the foundational classes, and they both help.
Yeah,
they both help in their own way. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it just doesn't hurt to learn it. You know what I mean? It just does. It literally doesn't hurt. It won't kill you. People can, if you can spend hours on TikTok or Instagram, surely you can spend like 5 minutes just reading up this one paragraph talking about the history of where locking came from. And I swear it will help, because I don't sympathize or something. I emphasize on like on the creators. I think, imagine if I made locking, and then 50 years from that, people were doing them and they didn't know who I was. Dude, I would feel so like, dude, I'll feel sad, bro. Cause like, and that's kind of what's that's kind of, not, I'm not saying heaps, I'm just saying it's kind of happening in our dancing, is that a lot of the people, they're doing sets or they're doing locking, but then they don't know who Don is. And that sucks. Not for them, but for Don.
Yeah.
Cause like, for a quick little history, is that Don when he was making locking, Don was laughed at. You know, people thought he was weird, he was different. And look what happened. Look what came out of it. Now we're doing his dance style that he and his friends made. We're doing it on world stages. We're doing it on small stages. We're battling with it, all because this dude believed in himself. And so that's what I mean by, if it's sad if like these guys are doing locking, but they're doing what he made, but they don't even know who he is. I just feel that's why I push it, because I push it for the ones who did all the hard yards.
Yeah.
And when I say hard yards, I mean like being ridiculed, being laughed at, and also making it all up and stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why I push it. But reiterating back, it doesn't make anyone any less or any higher. Everyone's still a dancer. Everyone's still on the same level.
And if you watch back from last episode, Mele talked about the importance of foundation as well. And it's like, for me, whenever I get lost in movement, I always have b-boy to come back to.
Yeah, hell yeah,
and
hell yeah.
I always, and then whenever I come back to b-boying, I always remember that like all my basic steps I still have down. I still have my 6-step, I have my CCs, I have like so much to work with, and it reminds me that going back to your base and working on that and pushing that forward, and like crap. Oh man, I lost what I was gonna say. But it's just always nice. It's always nice to have something to come back to.
It helps your craft now. Like that stuff back then helps your craft now, and people tend to forget that. Like, and I remember talking to these dancers, and I asked like, and I was talking to them, and I asked them like, oh, what's your like, who's your favorite choreographer? And I remember they were like, oh, Brian Puspos.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, that's me. Like, he's dope. And he goes, oh, what's your favorite like old school style? And they're like, oh, and they're like, old school style, didn't know which one. And then I was just like, oh, what's your favorite sit? When you do a sit on stage, what style do you like to do? And they're like, oh, popping.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, oh, cool. Do you know who made popping? Or like, do you know the original poppers? And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, that's cool, that's all good. Like, and then and I told them, oh yeah, and you guys like Brian Puspos, say? And they're like, yeah. And goes, oh yeah, did you know what's funny? And I was like, what? They were like, oh, well, what is it? And goes, did you know that like before Brian Puspos was famous, did you know that Brian Puspos was a popper?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Nah. And they didn't believe me. They thought that he just did choreo like from the beginning. I was like, oh nah, dude, no. Like, Brian Puspos was a popper before he got into choreo. Do you know that all the dancers that you know, they all came from an old school style? And they're like, what? And they're like, oh, there was a dancer. what's it? Dude, I can't remember his name. Sorry, I forgot his name. But he adds a lot of b-boy elements.
Daniel Jerome.
Yeah. And it's obvious, dude.
Yeah.
He came from b-boying.
Yeah.
And so I always tell like choreo dancers or any dancers, like freestyle dancers as well, like who want to transition into choreo but don't feel like they're gonna do it well. And then for choreo dancers to transition to freestyle but they don't feel like they're gonna do it well, I say, dude, the people you look up to, they show that you can do the transition. Like for freestyle dancers, you look at like Brian and all of those guys, Jerome, like, dude, they come from old school styles, foundational styles, and now they're killing it in choreo. And then the other way around, you look at Ian Eastwood, who was a foundational style. He hard out did choreo, and now he's going back and battling, and he's killing it in the game.
Is.
Like it can work other way. Like, and I just tell people like, dude, like at first before choreo there was just the foundational styles, and then choreo came along and it became a big thing. But now it's there. We can't change it, but you can work with from both. And Project, we proved that as well.
Yeah.
We handy like proved that. Like we are like. Yeah, we proved that you can do well in the battle and in the freestyle world and in the battle world and in the choreo. And I know that people are still stuck, like they want to stay in either the battling or stay in like the choreo, but dude, it can work both ways and you learn so much.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. You can learn so much from both sides. Hell yeah.
Bro, that was crazy tangent. Okay, last two tips.
Yo. Dude, that's right. There's
Yeah.
Shucks. Sorry, you can cut it down here.
Yeah, I'll cut it down. But honestly, this is like pretty mean, so I think I might keep it in anyway.
Okay, 2 more tips. I'll summarize it and make it nice and strong and short. Second one would be what do you call it? Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And when I say that, the tip is battle mentality. So battle mentality, there's so much stuff with battling that people don't realize, that there's so much stuff they have to take into account. But I think the best one to sum it all up is believe in your craft and believe in yourself. That is the best battle mentality to have.
Yeah.
Because when you're battling and they can be going all up in your face, but if you come back and all you're doing is you're not getting at them, but you're believing in yourself through your dance and your round, dude, it can overpower whatever they did, you know what I mean? Because then people be like, dude, this guy really believes in himself. And like I said before, it's contagious.
Yeah.
So that's one big tip of mine. Always and please believe and in yourself, in your movement, in your craft when you're battling, because that can be just as strong as getting up in their face and attacking them, is to show that you love your craft. And the third one is the most important one, I reckon, is have fun.
Yeah.
A battle can get grungy, it can get grimy, it can sometimes get raw, and it can sometimes be fun and clowny and jokes, but in the end, it's all fun, and it's because we do it for fun. Like when I battle, I've had some beefy battles, and they get beefy and they get a bit hectic, but in the end, we do it because we love dance, and we have fun. And it might
Sorry, when you said beefy, I just thought about I'm the Twin, but yeah, keep going.
About who?
I'm the Twin.
What's that?
Sheldon.
Oh my gosh, I'm the Twin. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a perfect example. Me and Sheldon were going heavy at each other, but in the end, it's all love.
Yeah.
In the end, it's all love and it's all fun. And I think that's the one thing that people always have to keep in mind, is that when you're battling, when you're ciphering, when you're freestyling, whatever, like have fun. Definitely have fun. And I swear there's been comps where I've won a whole comp just by having fun. And it's surprising. Like I didn't realize, like when I trained hard, but then I felt like I was missing something, and then on the day I'll just be like, you know what, bro, have fun. And like a perfect example is Fist of Fury with Av. Or Fist of Fury, no, actually Fist of Fury in Wellington, the second Fist of Fury. Shout out to Don for running that event, dope event. Fist of Fury 2018 was a heavy battle event, but I won because the whole comp I just had fun. I was just doing me. I was doing two of my 3 tips I was just doing those two, having fun and believing in myself, and then I won. So it can work. You don't have to have a strong like I'm gonna get you. That can work as well, but even just believing in yourself and having fun can work just as well. Yeah, and that's my 3 tips. Sorry I prolonged it.
Nah, it's good. It's good. What do you think is the most important lesson you've learned from losing a battle? Because I think people have seen John I think more people have seen you recently.
Yeah.
And they see you win events or like place really high, but like back then you actually used to come second a lot.
Dude, the second place curse?
Yeah, there was a curse where he came second a lot, so he's taken a lot of L's, bro.
Oh man. Yeah, going off what Andy's saying and what you're saying, people, yeah, they do tend to see my wins a lot, but dude, if I were to compile a list of my wins, actually no, not just me, every dancer, every dancer will come if they compile their every battle dancer, if they compile their list of wins and losses, the list of losses will always overweight the list of wins, and it's because that's how you win, is that you lose. And so I think the biggest lesson I've learned from losing is how to lose. Now people don't realize this, and this might be a bit confusing, but dude, losing is actually a skill. There is actually an actual skill called losing and how to lose properly. Now the reasoning behind that is because even for myself back then when I used to lose, dude, I used to get salty. Like I used to hate like anyone, we hate losing. And it happens, but dude, I used to be like, nah, stuff this, stuff the judges, like stuff that guy that beat me, like if I lost in like wherever I would lose would determine how salty I was. If I lost in like top 4, if I lost in final, I'd be fine. I'd be like, okay, I came second, damn it, but all good. If I lost in top 4, I'd be like, close. Top 8, it's top 16. I'm like, nah, gee, what the heck? And then not making it from prelim, bro. I like honestly, dude, I hated losing, and I would always get salty. And so why I say it's a skill is because nowadays I've matured and I realize you have to learn how to lose, and how the right way to lose is to one, accept it. Accept that you lost, accept that you carried on, unless you really don't like the judge's call and you feel like it's rigged, then you call the judge out if you want, or you have a conversation with the judge before you do any drastic thing like call them out. But one is accepting the loss, 2 is learning from it. So okay, cool, now take from what do you reckon you need to improve on? Cool, I feel like this was lacking, I feel like this was lacking, blah blah blah. Cool, I'm gonna learn from it. And 3, improve. I feel like once you've learned and you know what you're lacking and why you lost, or you understand, or you watch your rounds back and then you see why you lost, okay, now go back and improve on it. Go back into the lab, into the studio, back into the street, and go and improve on what you need to work on and come back stronger. All of that's a skill, and that's called how to lose. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned from losing battles, is how to lose properly, how to accept it, see what I need to work on, and go back and work on it and come back stronger. I think that's a very important lesson that I've learned from losing.
Jeez. Strong answer. Solid answer.
Yeah, because some people like get like really, really salty.
Fuck, call them out.
Hard. Just like, gee, you lost, just relax. No. I should have said that to myself 8 years ago, actually.
So, bro, this is a question that sometimes I ask myself, but like what is community to you, and why do you think it's important?
What is community to me, and why do I think it's important? I think the community is like, is everything. I feel like it's, or if not everything, it's like super, super important. Because I take it back to like our family values and our culture and stuff. Like for me, like in Polynesian culture and Samoan culture or island culture as a whole, family is very valued, just like as in your culture as well. It's super valued. And also not only that is like family, but your village is your family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we're always raised to be like, to care for everyone, care for your neighbor. And so I feel like the reason why community is super important is because it stems from that value of everyone, bringing everyone up together. And so I feel like it's super important because in our dancing, yeah, like we like everyone needs to build up everyone. And I feel like when one person helps one person grow, it creates a ripple effect, and that's community.
Yeah.
That's community, is that ripple effect. And then everyone coming up together, that's what I find super important. What was the other half of the question?
No, I think I just asked what is community to you and why do you think it's important, but I think you...
Oh, yeah. Pretty much to like sum it all up, community is super important. We all need each other. And I think if our community grows together, we lead by example for the next generation, because that's their own community as well. Like the kids now that are dancing, they have their own, and that's their age group. That's their community, because when they grow up, it's them they're gonna see around a lot, not us. Like they'll see us around as the OGs or as the ones before us, but they'll have their own community. Like there'll be like a kin in that community. There'll be a drill, a happy feet in that community, but that's theirs. So I feel like community is super important because we lead for the next generation underneath us, and then that's the ripple effect. They lead for the community underneath them, and yeah, super important. Please understand how important community is. Even if you look back into hip hop history, it's all community. It's all community. That's it. I'm not gonna say anything more about that. I think if you really want to know the success of a community, look back at hip hop, like the historical history of hip hop. Because then look where it is now. Now the community is global, but it all started with just a bunch of kids in the poor neighborhood, and so super important, man. Super important.
Last question for you directly.
Yep.
When you were younger, you lived by, to be great, you have to be a servant. Does that still remain true for you today? And what else do you live by now? Is there anything else?
Yep, I still live by that, and I still Matthew 20:26 in the Bible. I still live by that same thing. And kind of touched base on it like earlier too from the family. So yeah, it is. I still live by that. Super important to me. And like to be great is to be a servant. Is like pretty much, it's self-explanatory. Like the ones that are great are like, they're not like, you have people that try to be great on their own. You know what I mean? And it's cool. Like I feel that. But like when you become great by serving others, your greatness is like upheaved like tenfold. Like it lifts up because instead of just proving yourself, you've lowered yourself. But by lowering yourself, others raise you. You know what I mean? Because you've lowered yourself to help others, and others will raise you, and then you become great. So that's how I've always seen it, and that's how it's important to me. And like I said earlier with my family, I'm always doing that. Now because of them, our family is respected by our neighbors, and also my mom and dad are respected by like my like other parts of my family, like the cousins and that, because they know, oh yeah, these guys always welcome others and they always help others. And so I feel like it's super important. And for anything else I live by now, I'd say like my earlier conversation with just you, when it wasn't recording, sorry. And that was, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. There's nothing wrong with, just as much as you're selfless, as in like helping people, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. And I realize that now. Like at first I was super like, put others first. And then now I've realized that, okay, I can put others first and still put myself first as well. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with being selfish. There's nothing wrong with building yourself as a person, as a dancer, as a writer, a creator, an architect, whatever you want to be. Like, there's nothing wrong with building yourself first and becoming great within your own eyes and finding your inner happiness through your own self-achievement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like that's become just as important as building others. So I used to think building others only, but now I'm like, oh no, build us.
Yeah.
Let's build us together.
Yeah.
Like, let me build me, you build you, and then when we can, let's build each other as well. And so it's pretty much what I live by. Obviously, like, I will always live by my beliefs of the Bible. Yep, that's the truth. I will always live by God, and that God is the one that blesses me with everything that happens in my life, both good and bad. Good things I thank him, and bad things I ask for guidance and I keep it going. But what also with that is my own other like stuff that I believe in, which is service and selfishness at times. And yeah, I feel like because of those things in my life, good things have been happening, bad things have been happening as well. That's inevitable, but like, I'm starting to find a bit of my inner happiness.
Yeah.
And whenever I do something, it's like a self-achievement. And when I find self-achievement, dude, I'm like proud of myself. And when I'm proud of myself, I find a little bit more of that inner happiness.
That's cool.
And then that little inner happiness rubs off to other people. Because they see that, oh, dude, he's kind of happy within himself. Damn, that kind of makes me happy. And then bang, it's like that person gets happy, does this thing. Yeah, I think like those things are, I think, what I find important now. So the Lord above, obviously, service to others, and then building yourself and being selfish with yourself and putting yourself first at times as well. And then everything else is in the middle, like that is important as well, like family, friends, the crew, food, food again, more food,
and more food,
kebabs,
yeah.
I was never a fan of like, sorry to like be a tangent,
Nah, go ahead.
but I was never a fan of like kimchi for a while, eh?
I'm not either, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. The taste is a bit too strong for me.
I can't, like, there's actually like a time when I actually couldn't stand kimchi, and Seiju was there. But I love Seiju, so I'm like, oh, dude, I'm not gonna waste your money.
Yeah.
But like, now I like it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's this egg thing. I think it's egg.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how you get that platter?
Yeah.
In Korean restaurants, and then there's kimchi in that. There's like the egg thing that I really like. But yeah, I think it's yeah. But yeah, sorry to like go on and off stem there, but yeah, those are the things I live by now, and I find important alongside with community and stuff. And food, I feel like food, dude, the world connects. I'm like going on another tangent again. The world connects by like two things. The world is no. Well, which one is it? No, yeah, it is. It's connected by two things. Music.
Yeah.
Oh, three. Music, food, and dance. I feel like those three things connect the world. And then also on top of it is like the Lord. And I know that not everyone believes in God, but that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Everyone's like objected to their own beliefs. But physically down here on earth, I'd say it's like food, dance, and music. That's what connects it. Because, dude, how many like international dancers or whatever that don't speak English, or anyone that dances but they don't speak English, and they come here and you can't have a good conversation with them, right? But when you guys dance on the floor, it's like it's like you guys are talking there. Yeah, exactly. I always thought about it, eh? Mind-boggling stuff when you're in a 5-hour drive to Hawke's Bay.
Fuck. That's cool. That's a cool point you bring up, because when Kevin Paradox came, I remember Kevin was walking around freestyling with everyone, right?
Yeah.
And during his workshop, there was a point in time where he asked everyone to freestyle and test out the things that we learned from his session.
Yeah.
And he walked around, and I remember there was this one part where he freestyled in front of me, and I've never had that happen before.
Yeah.
That exchange, and I just remember that exchange being like, for me it was like crazy because we didn't talk, but it felt like we were saying.
It's like a conversation.
It felt like we were saying heaps, and I felt like I was saying, hey, this is how I like to move, and this is me, and then he was like, oh, that's cool, this is me, and then we're like,
but it's like some sort of mutual connection, and it's like a respect thing too. That's what I mean. I feel like dance is like this. Dance is its own language. Like they've said it. Like people have said it so many times, even like in the early 1900s and that with like ballet and that, like people they always say dance is its own language. But now I understand it. Like dance is literally its own language. Like you and Paradox, you guys didn't have to talk.
Yeah.
But you guys were talking. That's what I mean. But that's what boggles my mind at times because I'm like, how do you know? Like, how do you know how I feel without saying anything?
Yeah.
But just moving. Let me rephrase that. How do I know how do you know how I feel by moving how you feel?
Damn, that's a...
You know what I mean?
Bro, that's trippy.
I know, right? And I was like, and that's what I mean. Like for example, the locking jam.
Yeah.
Yuki's English is not the best.
Yeah, that's right.
But dude, when he's dancing, it feels like we're with him. You know what I mean? Like, and when we're jamming and stuff, like, and when he's just like had that little solo part, I felt like I was like supporting and like with him in it. But dude, when I speak to him, his English is not that great, and like I try to get across what I say. But if I talk with dance, like he knows what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And I think that's the dope thing about like dance as well, because it's like it can touch you in a way. Yeah. Like song and dance can touch you in a way that other things can't like move you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Interesting topic. I think you should add that as well. You should add and include like what are some topics people should give you topics to talk about.
We'll have a brainstorm, G. We'll have a brainstorm after, maybe tonight. But moving on, just the viewer question.
Oh yeah.
This is the last viewer question. So, dear What's the Dillies podcast, I'm a dancer that's been dancing for 5 years now, but recently I've found myself not improving. I look the same in a lot of my freestyles, and even though I know it's my style, I just want more. I'm starting to get frustrated and even a little bored. I want to improve and really advance my freestyling further. What's some techniques/tips for me to put into my practices to improve? How do I be more creative?
Dude, this is an actual viewer that asked that.
Yeah.
That's such a really rough thought.
But this is like, so they sent it in and then I just kind of put it together.
Oh, you reword it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because sometimes they send it in and it's a bit jumbled, so I just try to clean it up.
You find the points, yeah. Okay, crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I picked this one for you because they're all in a pool, and I picked which ones I think the person could answer the best.
Yeah.
So I picked this one for you because you're like probably one of the most versatile dancers here. One of the most versatile dancers here.
Okay. So if I got correctly, they're getting a bit bored. They want to improve, but they're dancing for 5 years and they feel like they're not improving, and they feel like every time they watch themselves, they look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think some tips on maybe how to be a bit more creative or to break through that wall. One, I touched on it earlier, and I'm not gonna bash it or something. I'm just gonna say it. Like foundations helps. Yeah. Again, I'm just touching base on that. Learning the foundation of another style helps. That's one thing. I'm not gonna bash too much on it. I already did. Yeah. Another thing is find. A physical tip is that in your dancing, find a shape that's weird and uncomfortable. So when I was training Grace, there's actually
shout out G Race.
Yeah, shout out to G Race, you funny little girl. My students, my own, her and Vanna, students. Sorry, going back. So when I was training Grace one time. Oh, actually no, Grace and Vanna, they were both there at that one training session. Yeah. I made them find weird shapes. So I made them do these weird ass shapes. I'm like, I go into these weird shapes, and they would. They went into these weird shapes, and I found, is it uncomfortable? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. Like Vanna bent right over and then put his hand here, and like Grace like went low but stuck her leg up there and put her hand behind her head, like weird shapes. Yeah. And I said, is it uncomfortable? Yeah. And they're like, yes. And I say, cool. you're gonna do two things. You're gonna dance out of it and you're gonna dance into it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I made them do that, and what that was to break out of the notion that you have to be up straight or you have to be in the box.
Yeah.
And your body has to be like, what looks cool is this certain movement or shape. But in my mind, to be more creative, you have to think that every shape, every weird, unusual shape looks cool. Every weird, unusual movement looks cool.
Yeah.
So I think like the tip is like find something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not only in movement and dance, in styles, in knowledge of your dance, like find something that's uncomfortable and then dive at it and then make it work. You know what I mean? I think that's how you break out of that's how you break out of that wall and get into that more creative side. Because now your mind is so used to this that when you find something unusual, your mind and your body's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, yo, John, what are you doing? The hell are you doing? This is like weird. But then that's exactly what you want. You're like, yeah, I know it's weird, mind and body, but we're going to work with it and we're going to break out of it and do it and use it. And then, bang, you into that creative, like, part of your side because it's like, oh, okay, that's weird. What's another weird shape? What's another weird movement? So, yeah, find what's uncomfortable and run with it. And in terms of technique, I think my only tip for technique is drill. Drill. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing a style or popping, locking, or you're not doing a style and you're just doing your own thing, drill it. So there's a saying that I'm not afraid of the man who knows 1,000 kicks, but I am afraid of the man who practices one kick 1,000 times.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Shout out Bruce Lee.
I knew it, yeah. So that saying is so true, like, and that what Bruce Lee is pretty much saying is drill and practice what your movement is now.
Yeah.
So like, if this, like, you know, shout out to the person, to the viewer who's seen this comment. If you feel like your dance is feeling the same, or you've been or like it looks the same and stuff, that probably is because you think that that's the peak of that move, or the peak of your movement.
Wow.
But it's not the peak of your movement. Yeah. You're getting bored because you don't want to push any further, or you don't want to practice it to the T. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean by practice it, like drill it. Like, for example, if I do one move where I stick my arm out like straight, that's just level 1. Yeah. Like, but there's still 100 levels of that to go, and that's to make it like fully strong. And then to extend on that, like your movement, you add stuff to it. If your movement feels boring, it's because you haven't added any sauce. Yeah. Like, you have a soup there, you haven't added any flavor, but you're bored of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you add flavor, and what I mean by flavor is you add small stuff. Like, if you're flowing around, tick, tick, or pauses, pause, or make it fast, or do your motion slow, or do your motion as slow as you can go. Like, there's so much you can do with what you know. You know what I mean? So like, push beyond it. Yeah. And I know it's hard to find the inspiration, but I find inspiration in everything, really. Like, in everything. In anime. Yeah. In dance battles, choreo videos, and performances. In music, I love listening to classical stuff, and I like listen to it and think like, oh, how did they make this? And then I think like, oh, dude, they must have, like, Beethoven must have refined this so many times. Like, he must have made so many drafts of this one piece to make it where it is now. And it's the same as dance, right? If you're feeling bored, or you're feeling like you're not improving, that's draft 1. Yeah. Draft it again. Take that same move. What can you do with it 3 times? Break it down another 3 times. Like, yeah.
Fuck, that answer, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But to that person, push beyond it. Uncomfortable. Fight. Drill your movement that you know so far, and just find inspiration in everything. And good luck to whoever that is. And hope to see you kill it in the freestyle game, and Hope you beat me. That's the number one thing I do when I'm teaching Grace and Giovanna, or I teach anyone anything. It's like, I hope you use this to beat me, because when G-Race beats me, bro, I'm gonna be so happy. Like low key, for real. When G-Race or Vanna beats me, I'm gonna legit be like teary eyed, like this. Proud. But yeah, that's I think that's my tips for that.
To end it off, bro, what's one piece of advice you give yourself 5 years ago?
One piece of advice.
Yep.
Oh yeah. One piece of advice I reckon I'd tell myself 5 years ago is open your mind and your heart. Hell yeah. Open your heart so you can open your heart into treating everyone the same, and serving others, just as I've been talking about in this interview. And open your mind as in you were always a student.
Yeah.
No matter what, you were always a student. People that were like, you could be the best at one thing, but you ain't the best at everything. Which means you may be like high level in one thing, for example, one style, but you low level in another.
Yeah.
You low level in like 5 others. I may be the best like at crump.
Yeah.
But I'm low level. I'm like level 0 in popping and then whacking and then like, you know what I mean? Like, you're always a student.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go. So that's what I mean. Open your heart and open your mind, John, and stop stealing.
Oh.
But yeah, that would be the advice I'll tell myself 5 years ago. I'll tell my
Alright, bro. That's it. G, short, man.
Short,
This
G.
is like the longest episode we've ever filmed. But
yeah, sorry, bro. Dude, we started at like 1.
Yeah, we started ages ago, but we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, it's like
just to end it off, bro. Like, just plug yourself. What are you doing next?
Cool everyone. So, my main style is hip hop freestyle, and so like, me and one of the boys that was in the earlier podcast, Mike, and another homie Av, also with Project, we're gonna be starting up hip hop classes at Monadewar High School. Will most likely be Thursday nights. Please look out for any posters or info that come through and learn from us. And also, the next Loose Change will be coming up real soon. With Loose Change, I try to make it kind of a daily but not daily thing. So it's something for dancers to keep working towards. So keep an eye out for that. And for any projects that project team does, keep an eye out. And mad shout out to Andy for having me. And thank you to everyone who that listens to this. And just... follow me on Instagram, j.happyfeet__. And peace, love, unity, and having fun.